Hello gamers, TFA Gaming here and welcome to Gran Turismo 7. Today we are racing at Trial Mountain for the BMW M3 One Make Series. No wait, sorry, I meant the Nations Cup. This race was dominated by the BMW M3 and basically no one chose any other car. Now this is race number 3 of the Nations Cup, but don't go searching for videos of race 1 and 2 because I didn't enter them. This was my first ever Nations Cup race. And what a race to start, Trial Mountain in a BMW M3. For me personally, one of my least favourite tracks in one of my least favourite cars, and as I thought, a very difficult car to drive. As you can see from my starting position, I qualified poorly, I really messed up my qualifying, I was too close to the car in front on my outlap, and then I ended up nearly crashing into a car right at the end, which ruined my lap, and then I start this race from 12th. My main aim of this race, seeing as it was my first race, was really to finish better than I started and try and stay out of trouble. The cars in front were clearly on a different strategy to me, as into the first corner they immediately have a crash and I jumped straight up into 11th place. Now coming into the tunnelled left-hander here, the Spanish driver in front leaves the door open with the lights on, and it would be rude not to accept such an invitation. I go right through up into 10th place. Now through this set of corners, I try to be very smooth, not to push too much. It's a very easy track to get a penalty on. As you can see, the car in 8th just touches the wall and gets a 1.5 second penalty. Coming into the tunnel, the Polish driver gets a very poor exit after fighting with the Spanish driver, and that lets the Lamborghini sneak up the inside, and I decide to follow them through. Tiny bit of contact there, but you do have to have your elbows out in these races. The Lambo driver gets a very poor exit and clips the wall in the exit, slowing them down. I'm not quite sure what happened to the Lexus and BMW in front because they were extremely slow into the main straight and we just blast past them. Everyone's seemingly struggling to keep their cars off the wall in this track. Very long straight here at Trial Mountain and very difficult to judge the braking zone at the bottom of the hill into a very tricky long left-hander. I found braking just at the sign on the right worked for me most of the time, but there was definitely a better place to brake. Up the inside of the Spanish driver here, again a little bit of contact. I think we're both just going for the same space. Now up the hill, I found braking just as you crest the hill was great for this complex. This track was very twisty with lots of uphill and downhill bits to contend with. The car behind gets very close on the apex of the corner, which does put me off a little bit and I go a little bit wide. Luckily I don't spin or lose much time. Just going to whip it forward here. As we finish lap 1, you can see the cars in front of a penalty, and we cross the line and start lap 2 in 4th place, which I think is amazing considering we started 12th. Now as we enter the first corner complex, I really thought I was going to get a penalty on this left-hander, but as long as you keep 2 wheels on the curb, you can really abuse the track limits. I was actually really fast through this first split, up until pretty much lap 8 or 9, I was purple sectoring this over and over again. It was the rest of the lap where I really need to improve my times. I found this was really a car and a track that rewarded a slow in, fast out driving style. If you tried to carry too much speed in, the car would just understeer and you would hit the wall and get a penalty. Moving it forward here to the start of lap 3, I was chasing down 2nd and 3rd. It looked like they had a crash into turn 1 because of all the smoke you can see. And as we round the 3rd corner, they both have a 1.5 second penalty. My strategy now was to just be patient, stay with them, and I knew by the start of lap 4 I could be in 2nd place. Which is exactly what I did, and as we come to the final chicane, you can see that all 3 cars in front have a penalty. This was my chance to take the lead of the race from 12th on the grid. I didn't get the best exit onto the main straight, but I do just about manage to get the lead at the end of the straight. This is where things unravelled for me slightly, where I immediately get pushed off by the Italian. Now I don't think it was intentional, I was narrow and had to brake more than they did when we made contact. I did manage to avoid hitting the wall and getting a penalty, but with dirty tyres, the rest of the pack were now bearing down on me. Through the next section of the track, it got very busy and I started to go backwards. I was really trying to avoid contact with the other cars because a penalty now would ruin any chance for a podium or even a win. The Frenchman goes past, and then the Spaniard behind gets a much better exit and goes past me as well. We do make a little bit of contact, but again, I think we're both just going for the same space. They were clearly trying to give me room. I knew I needed to get a good exit onto the main straight to keep in the slipstream of the cars in front, and I really didn't. The car steps out of me and I lose valuable momentum. This wasn't the end of the world though. With everyone battling so much up ahead in the twisty sections, I was able to keep up with the pack. Moving forward to lap 5, it was really starting to get busy. It was so tough not to have a crash with the other cars. We're pretty much in a 7-way battle for the lead for a basically single file section of track. I had a great battle with the Spanish driver in front, both of us giving just enough racing room. I thought this was great driving from both of us to not have a crash or a penalty. Down to the end of the main straight, I go really deep and mess the corner up and lose a place because of it. But as you can see in front, it's just chaotic with constant battles from the cars. So I didn't really lose any time. I have a good run on the car in front, but I decide to back out of it and stick to the inside of the corner here and try and get a good run into the next left-hander down the hill. I didn't defend the left-hander here because I didn't think the car behind was close enough, but they send it anyway and sort of just nudged me out the way, but luckily I don't lose too much time. The Italian in front doing a bit of dirt racing and getting a very poor exit. Both go past them and the Italian driver sideswipes me. I guess they just didn't see me or expect to be there. It was a very aggressive move though. Then they go very deep into the last corner and get a poor exit, and I go from 7th to 5th and onto the main straight. I can see the car in 3rd as a penalty, but I'm a bit too far away to capitalise on it. Both the Spaniards in front seem to really struggle with this section of the track. They both have a penalty from hitting the wall, and if I can stay with them to the end of the lap, I'll start lap 7 on the podium. I actually managed to get past the first Spanish driver on the straight. They get a poor exit and lose time down the main straight. Now coming into the braking zone, there's half a chance to go up the inside, but I decide it's not really on and back out. For the hill, the Spanish driver goes really narrow and nearly hits the exit wall, and then defends the inside. We make a little bit of contact on the right-hander, and it's just slowing us all down. Coming into the last chicane, it gets really messy. The car behind going for a mega send and just crashes into me. And this is what I don't really understand. I guess it comes with lower rated lobby races. If they have a penalty, I'm going to go back past them on the main straight anyway, so what was the point of the dive bomb? As we start lap 7, everything calms down. I'm back into 3rd place, and I was able to spend the next 3 laps putting in some clean racing. I managed to pull away from the pack behind, but I never really caught the cars in front. They were in a class of their own. On lap 9, I did my fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 6, 9.59, but as you can see the fastest lap of the race was 2 seconds faster than that. Coming up to the end here, I was really pleased with this race. I started 12th, I'm going to finish in 3rd on the podium. It was a really tough race. It was so hard not to crash into the other drivers and into the wall, but I managed a penalty-free race. I think that's part of the reason why I finished where I did. Just before we finish here, I want to say a massive thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. Consider liking and subscribing if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.